Do you have any idea what that does to your colon? We'll find out today on the Manspace. Welcome to the Manspace podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, Spacemen, to Rob's colon. Oh, wait, it's time. Oh, it's time for me to pop my pills. My 4 laxatives.
What pills, Rob?
See that? 4 laxatives right there.
Nuprin. Little. Yellow.
Different.
That's a long draw.
Dude, they say drink a full glass of water. You got to get lots of hydration in this process. I'm going to lose it all.
Send them down there on a torrential rapids flow.
I don't actually know. Like, part of me thinks, how much is this? So, Spacemen, just so you know, I just took 4 laxatives because I am curious.
I just want to see what would happen.
I'm getting a colonoscopy tomorrow, which we've actually talked about previously on the show. Matt, I don't know if you were there for any of the episodes, but I know we talked about it because one of my friends texted me because I mentioned, like, I mean, how bad is it going to be for the, and he's like, dude, be close to a toilet.
Well, that's
Don't
right,
be
because
seeing
we were
clients.
talking about. Yeah, about you were thinking you'd be able to
Do therapy.
still get
do it on the
just
show.
You'd be able to get home.
Yeah,
He was going to drink the liquid on the show, and he was confident he'd be able to drive.
No, not the liquid. I know once the liquid starts, it's like, forget it. That's lights out. Just these are like these laxative. I thought, well, how? I mean, I accidentally once drank a whole bottle that was mixed with dish soap, and it was so bad that for 2 days I thought every 20 minutes I was going to poop my pants, and I never did.
Did you blow bubbles?
It was delightfully fresh when it came
I was
out.
going to say the cleanest Rob's ever been.
Dude, I want to give you...
accidentally drink a bottle that's mixed with dish soap.
We were hiking, and Jean let me borrow one of her. She had rinsed out, cleaned a bunch of reusable, just plastic water bottles, and I was drinking. I was like, "This tastes a little like soap. Is that soap?" And I didn't know. I was just drinking it, and I finished the whole bottle. And then later, I was like, "Oh, that's what happens if you drink dish soap."
That's why you don't. You remember that song, Zoot Suit Riot?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So one of my friends changed the lyrics, and I'm going to give you this gift to have in your head when you're on the toilet. Poop shoot riot.
What's funny is I just took this and I think, well, maybe it starts working real fast. I don't think so. It says it's overnight, but so if you see me suddenly be like, "Bye guys," you know why.
That's just like
make sure
stool
there's
softener,
no
right?
microphones involved.
Yeah, it's just a stool softener. So it's, in theory, it's to like this episode. People are
Loosen
like,
the crags from the
skipping this one.
wall.
Yeah, loosen it so that whenever I drink this, it's called Suprep, that it just mainlines it. I don't know. You doing all right there, Mike? No. Mike's embarrassed.
After the episode, I got to tell you guys about QT.
I think you need to tell us now.
Just some dude in the bathroom.
Oh.
I go in, and all of a sudden I hear this like,
oh boy. Poor guy. I always admire people who can just let their relieving process fly when they're in public like that.
And that's the thing. He was like, whatever, like, I don't know if he was just like super constipated or something, but clearly it was so much pain involved in getting it started or something that he just kept expressing the pleasure of it being out. I just kept hearing like, oh. And I was just like, oh my gosh, dude. You're in a public
sweat dripping
bathroom.
down on the floor.
It's so funny. I was sitting here thinking, isn't it funny? Like this topic that we'll get into today is not actually about my colon, but how men react and respond to health and taking care of themselves. But we still have 3 dudes talking about poop. So it's like, maybe doctors, like a GI doctor does it enough that he's like, I mean, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's always going to verge into stories that are like, let me tell you about this one time I heard a dude pooping a QT.
Dude, are you kidding? My guess is a GI doctor has so many of those stories
Oh man,
that
my
it's like, which one do I want to tell today?
some of Becky's cousins tell the funniest stories about being like an ER doc or an ER nurse. The funniest stories that all involve poop. Because that's where all the funny is.
Yeah.
So, Spacemen, here's what we're talking about today. Here's why we're talking about what we're talking about today. In short, something I ended up having like some heartburn consistently. And if you tell me that it's from soda, I'll have none of it. So
You'll have none of the soda or none of their.
I'll have none of their explanations. That's not science.
Yeah.
I want none of your lip.
So I went to the doctor. They checked it out and was like, well, you could try this. You tried this or that, like Tums, or I was like, yeah, I've had those. They're not for like 2 weeks straight. I had some pretty bad heartburn, especially in the mornings when I'd be laying in bed. If I was laying on my stomach, it was like, forget it, man. I was like, geez, dude, this
You
sucks.
lay on your stomach?
I mean, sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, did you hear your
I just
tone?
haven't laid on.
You lay on
I did
your
hear my
stomach?
tone, and I'm sorry.
What
about
are you,
that.
3?
No, like my wife lays on her stomach. I just haven't laid on my stomach in I don't know how long.
Like you matured past it? Is that what you're
No,
implying?
like I fatted out of it. But thanks for bringing it up.
So Mike lays on his stomach. It's like his head's sting.
Can't breathe.
So anyway, they gave me some like Prilosec OTC type stuff. It did nothing. So I went back in and I was like, it's doing nothing. Especially when I swallow over here on the right side of my chest, I can feel it. It's like a half a second after I swallow, it feels like it burns over there for some reason. Where I'm like, it's not even feels like it's in my lungs. And then they had me do that swallowing test where you can see the stuff going down, which is very cool, by the way. Everyone should go try it. You drink this really thick, chalky stuff that tastes like a delicious strawberry shake. And then first they have you swallow while they go, you're just standing there. They have you guzzle it while they're just keep swallowing and try not to burp because they give you first a whole bunch of basically Alka-Seltzer.
And they want you to not burp?
Dude, it's hard because immediately you're like, and you have to like hold it because it's bloating your chest up. So that's so they can see better. Barium, is that what you're drinking? Anyway,
No.
And then they had you lay down, and then you can see. So you swallow, and you're still drinking through a straw, and you can see it going down. It's so cool. It was the coolest thing I've ever done. But they're like, yeah, you got this flutter here. We'll send you to a GI doctor. So I go see the GI doctor. He's like, okay. He's like, well, we can do an endoscopy, which is going in through the throat, and look down in there and see what we can see. He's like, but you're also 45, so you're due for your first colonoscopy, so we'll go do that. And I was like, cool, man. I want to know what is going on in there. And you make those 2 little microphones do a little handshake in my stomach. It's like the meeting of the BNSF Railroad. It's just gonna be so excited. Drive that golden spike in. So that's also why I'm sitting at home, because I had to take those 4 laxatives. And I was told by the lady, no, be close to a toilet. And then my friend said, be close to a toilet. But it did make me think about when I think I know what Matt's answer. Nope, actually, I don't know. I'll just start here. When was the last time you guys went to a dentist?
I was going regularly for like a number of years. And then we switched dental insurance, and the place we were going kind of started turning into one of those chain places.
Yeah, they all do.
So
it drives me nuts.
I think it's been like I'm past my 6 month, but I think it's been like 10 months maybe.
Mike?
A little over a year, probably.
Okay.
May-ish of 2023.
There's a period of time where I don't think I went for like 6 years.
Yeah, I had one of those too.
You didn't ask how long it was before that visit.
How long was it before
I went to that visit? Probably like 10 years.
Oh, you had a toothache?
One of my fillings fell out.
Oh,
which it turns out is actually the doctor goes, no, that's actually natural. He's
Yeah.
like, fillings will, kind of degrade over time. And he goes, so it's pretty, like, how long have you had that filling? I'm like, I don't know, like 12 years. And he goes, yeah, that's about right.
Huh.
So, but I surprisingly only have like one other cavity.
so
Nice.
well, apparently, Mike and I were genetically predisposed.
Gifted Porter teeth.
Yeah, predisposed to have good teeth.
Yeah.
Every time I see a dentist, like, oh, those are great teeth. You got great teeth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was Grandma Porter was like, I'm 90 and I have all my original teeth.
Wow.
Or almost 90. Yeah, she was
Almost.
She was pretty proud of that.
Died the day before.
Yep.
So here's maybe a harder question, maybe not. When was the last time you went into the doctor for like a physical? Not for like, I have to go because something is exploding inside of me, like my appendix is bursting, but like I should go see the doctor and see what my numbers are and see how I'm doing.
That's been longer, but part of the reason why I don't think
Go
I
ahead,
went
make
back
excuses.
was like it was, just stated that it was included with our health insurance, and I want to say this was probably like 8 years ago, but I went in and they literally were like, why are you here? I told them, and they were like, okay. Like, what do you want us to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, don't you do stuff when this happens? But I have a much better doctor now, and she actually recommended that I come back and do that because I had to go in to get clearance to go on that mission trip thing last summer.
Yeah.
So I guess that was it then. I went in for a physical for that, but she was like, I can sign this for this, and you should come back and we can do like a full panel and all that stuff. And then I was like, sure. And then I didn't. But I do have that on my list. And I need to double check. I've got my colonoscopy scheduled too, but I can't remember when it is.
Oh, you've scheduled it?
My one that I was supposed to do a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 years ago.
Well, I think longer than that. 2015. I think I was supposed to do it 3 years later because they found a small polyp that was
So like 7 years ago.
Benign.
Yeah. So I've probably got some massive tumor down there now, just hanging out.
Just biding its time.
Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to make sure that before this whole cleansing begins, I should go weigh myself and then weigh myself afterwards. I want to know.
I was going to say
lose.
All those like miracle serum commercials where it's like, I was carrying 45 pounds of crap.
That's what.
No, you weren't.
Turns out I was skinny all along. I just had 70 pounds of poop in me. I have wondered that, like, what happened? Like, what if I got poop in there? It's like, this is from 13 years ago. I'm sure
diverted
it doesn't happen like that.
Diverted off of your main colon and created its own little cavity.
Hanging out. That's vintage
hey guys,
poop
we're playing
right there.
cards in here. Don't go down that way.
All right, so because I think my last time I have a physical scheduled actually for Tuesday next week. The time before that was probably about a year ago. Time before that was probably 5 years before that. That I just went because it was like, well, I should probably go do this.
Yeah,
I've had physicals for like life insurance. I was told in my life insurance physical, which was not, it's not full blown. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I was told at the end of my life insurance physical, she goes, well, you are the perfect specimen. And I was like, that's right.
Yeah, that wasn't a full blown physical then.
Excuse me? I don't even know what that means.
I don't either.
Like,
it just seemed like
it's
like the appropriate thing to say right there.
I feel like you've got some insider knowledge. Mike, what's this new shirt you have?
It's not new. I think I've actually worn it on here before.
No, you have not. You don't wear light colored shirts very often. What is it?
It looks like. Did you get it at Target?
I guess. Yeah, I did.
They used to have the orange version of that one.
Yeah.
I just gave that to my daughters.
Great, I'm wearing a girl shirt.
That's right, Mike. You implied I was a girl because I sleep on my stomach. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I think you should ask your doctors to attach a little picture of Dennis Quaid and a little space mobile right in front of your camera, so there can be inner space going on. Was
it Dennis Quaid and Martin Short?
He was inside Martin Short's body, but yeah,
that's right. I love when Martin Short pees. He's like, "Oh, are you still there?" Dude, I told somebody about that the other day. They're like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, you're missing out, man. That movie was awesome." So I have wanted this many times. I don't know. Maybe women do the same thing. I think women are much more likely to go in and get checked, even the things that they have to do that are much more unpleasant, like mammograms. You know, I've heard women say, just imagine someone taking your junk out and mashing it between two things.
Little boob panini.
Yeah. Panini.
Yeah, and then the pap smear, the old duck. The duck clamp thingy. You know what I'm talking about?
No? Duck clamp?
Yeah, it's like a little duck that they have to insert in there and open the duck's mouth.
Oh, yes, I do know that part.
Yeah,
okay.
Looks like a little duck.
I've never thought of it as a duck clamp. Yeah, theirs is way worse, but they go do it. But men are like, I'm not doing that. Like, what? I don't know. In fact, one of my office mates in my building was talking to me about, he's like, hey, we can go to breakfast on Tuesday or Thursday. I was like, okay, first of all, breakfast at like 10 on a Thursday? I got clients, man. Don't you work? He does. Works a lot. But I was like, oh, I'm doing a colonoscopy that day. He's like, well, this could be like a good breakfast. I was like, no. It's before, that would be before my colonoscopy. I can't do it. And he's like, why are you doing a colonoscopy? Just do the thing where you mail your poop in. And I was like, I want to know. Like, I feel like, no, let's be thorough. Like, get in there and tell me what's going on. I want to know everything that's going on in my body. But I feel like men are like, I do not want to know what's going on in there. I just want to live in blissful ignorance until I keel over dead.
Well, I think there's actually truth in that. Like, the last time I went to a doctor for like a physical was probably
get physical. Sorry, go ahead.
January 22. I had gone in like August for depression meds. But the condition with the doctor was like, you haven't had a physical and you're not technically my client. So you need to come in.
And I need some extra billing hours. So
he's like, so I want you to come in for a physical. We'll do blood work. And he goes, that's like, I'll see you now if you schedule that. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And I, like Jen asked, she's like, why don't you want to go? And I said, because I know what he's going to tell me. And she's like, well, what's he going to tell you? That I need to lose weight and that I need to stop doing this and I need to like start exercising or something like that.
Something dumb like that.
We came home from the appointment and Jenner goes, so, and I go, he said everything I thought he was going to say. Like I literally learned nothing new except numbers that don't mean anything to me because I'm not a doctor. I got those. Hey, we got your results back from your blood work. Great. I don't know what any of those numbers mean. But cool. You just hit all the three things you told me or that I told my wife you were going to tell me. So why did I just pay for this?
So is it
He's
in
not
this
helping me lose weight?
In this context, is it like, I know what he's going to tell me and I don't want to do it? Like admittedly, if they said, hey, Rob, that weird throat flutter thing you feel, it's because you're drinking too much carbonation. I'm going to be like, well, that's dumb. Although I can admit that if they just said too much carbonation, I'd say, okay, I can dial it back.
Yeah.
But if they said, you got to stop drinking, I'd be like, I'll just live with the throat flutter. Like, is it
Well,
a
and
matter
that's
of like, I'm not going to change it anyway, so don't tell me?
no. It was a matter of I know what needs to be changed.
But but don't you want to like?
But
I
why wasn't
understand
I
that part.
changing?
No, not that. No, I mean like, I think that's I think probably for a lot of men, it's like, um, I don't want to change this. And if someone tells me, "Hey, this is a serious problem," then I have to. I'm going to have to change it, or it's going to ruin me doing it. Like if I love drinking or if I love eating Twinkies, and someone says you got to stop that because it's you can see these numbers, it's going up, and you're going to die. It's like I don't want to stop eating Twinkies, and when I eat them, it's going to not be as fun anymore. I'm going to think, I shouldn't eat this. So it's like don't ruin my life by telling me what's going on with me.
Which I actually asked him about. Because I don't know, I'm always curious about this kind of stuff. So I asked my doctor about like, hey, when you tell client like patients this, what's their reaction? And he goes, they usually tell me they'll do it. And I go, and he goes, I put them on medication in 6 months because they're not doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I'll tell them they're pre-diabetic and they don't do anything, so I'm putting them on diabetic pills.
Yeah.
And I go, do you even? He goes, no, I just kind of accept that's the way it is. And he goes, not enough of my patients actually make any effort to change. Where I was like with him, he came back in. He's like, hey, he's like, you've lost a few pounds. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, you need to lose more. I'm like, I know, I'm working on it. And he's like, okay. And so like he was
this.
actually
Don't tell me what to do.
You're not the boss of me.
Butt out, guy.
It was actually like, like suddenly I was kind of the exception for him. Like he kind of expected me to show back up and be like, we did blood work again. And he goes, well, I don't have to put you on medication. Okay,
Hey.
cool. I mean, put me on cholesterol meds, but
and maybe Matt, I'm going to start mixing in that other topic that you talked about, and you're like, no, save it for another episode. But I think, like, is it a matter of because I understand. I think there are some things I don't want to change. And so I don't want someone telling me you need to change this. I just want to say, maybe this is the problem, but also maybe it's not. So it's fine. But as soon as somebody says that is the problem, then it's like, crap. But like, I think there's so much like as therapists that we tell people all the time, hey, you know what you should do? I had a client this morning telling me about how they changed their diet and change like, they're only drinking water and they're eating healthy foods and they're like waking up naturally early. And they said, I feel much better. And that stuff as a therapist, I tell people all the time, you should do this too. Mm-hmm. You should be changing your diet, changing your exercise habits, changing your sleeping patterns. And people are like, no. What's the thing where I change nothing, but everything works out? And I don't know if that's just like a laziness. I mean, I'm like that too. So it's a laziness of humans or of men. I don't know if it's more men than women, but I do think men sometimes seem more resistant to change than women do. But maybe that's unfair, or maybe I'm just trying to poke a bear. But anyway, I was going to tie it into Matt's thing, but maybe it's not there yet in my head, so I'm not tying it there yet. But I think I just don't. I guess I'd think, well, I want to know, like, what if I have cancer? Like, I could do something about that.
Well, so that's like you were talking about the guy who had chronic heartburn because he drank too much soda or something, and he ended up getting throat cancer.
No, it's not because he drank too much soda. That's why I think I'll get
that's
throat
what
cancer.
You were worried about.
This guy had chronic acid reflux and ended up developing esophageal cancer.
Right, but I think, but couldn't that have been from something else? Like it's the whole, like, cigarettes may cause cancer. Yeah, people who don't smoke cigarettes also get lung cancer. People who don't have chronic acid reflux also get throat cancer. So meaning it's one of those where...
Is that a justification you're saying that men will use? Or because I think, well, that's dumb, man. I mean, the incidence of, yes, some people, anomalies get lung cancer. it's almost a guarantee you smoke enough, you're getting lung cancer.
Maybe.
Almost a guarantee.
And yet not.
Maybe
the
more
fact
like
that you have to put the word almost in there.
Well, I was going to say maybe more like almost a guarantee that you'll get COPD or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
That really what you're saying.
But
like,
again, not lung cancer.
Sure.
My point is, I think with a lot of this stuff, it's the whole, like the doctor tells me, when I went in for my kidney stone, I went in to see a doctor afterward, and he goes, "Oh, kidney stone." He goes, "We'll test it and see what it is." And then he goes, "But tell me," he's like, "So, like, what's your diet like?" And I told him, and he says, "You drink a lot of diet soda?" And I said, "Well, the zero stuff." And he goes, "Yeah, okay." And he goes, "It's that."
He's
Let me clarify.
It's not different, guy. You're like, no, but it's the zero stuff.
It's not aspartame. It's aspartame with a little bit more caffeine.
but he said, "Oh, that's it. It's the soda."
Yeah,
and I
probably
thought,
the lack of water. The lack of water too.
Okay, but that's just it. So
but he pointed that as the cause of what?
As my kidney stone, the soda.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But so then I, like, just out of my own curiosity, right?
And my research too, remember? Because I was I need someone to tell me that drinking 7 of these a day is okay.
Well, so that's like, he told me that
problem.
And I shifted it. And I now, like, most days, not lately, but most of the time, my water intake is greater than or equal to my soda intake. And when it's off, it's like slightly off, right? It's never like, when I got my kidney stones, I would probably go 3-4 days at a time and not have water. Like, I was just soda or other kinds of liquid, orange juice, milk, whatever, all day long. No soda. But so I went and did my own research, and there was a study that found that there was a huge increase in soldiers that had deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq of kidney stones, because they were getting over there and were being severely dehydrated. And I thought, oh, so it has more to do with the lack of water than it does the soda I'm putting in my body. Which I think yes, like, I don't know, maybe I'm drinking less soda than I used to. I don't know. I'm drinking more water. I know that for sure, because I'm very, like, regimented about how much water I drink every day. And so I think, I don't know that I changed very much, but I haven't had a kidney stone in 10 years.
So in some ways, now this, sometimes I feel like anytime we talk about, like, health related topics, I feel like Mike starts to get very defensive.
Oh, it's because well, and that's like, some of this proves the point, right? Like, no, I do think there are a lot of guys who don't go to doctors because they don't want to be told what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
But
like, I know I should drink less soda. I'm not going to. And so I'm going to go to great lengths to show you that the soda I drink is okay.
Right. That's what I think is funny, is it's the part that's making me laugh is it's almost like you're saying, Rob, this stuff we say, it may cause cancer. Cigarettes aren't really a big deal. It's like, slow down there, Chuckles.
No, that's not, which is not what I'm saying, right? Like,
right.
That's just the example I use, because I do also think you can find a doctor to tell you anything. You want to find a doctor to tell you that a beer a day is healthy? Go ahead, you'll find one. Some doctor will tell you it's good for you to drink a beer a day.
So, but that's, I guess it's a good example of, like, watching a male try. And I told you I'm the same way. If they come back and say, Rob, it's from soda, I'll be like, well, guess I'm just going to have to live with a flutter. But part of me feels like I would like to know, like, there are some things that happen in my body that I'm like, what is that? Is that because I drink too much soda? Like, why does that happen, Matt?
Well, I guess I was going to say maybe the opposite, in that it's kind of like you're saying, Mike. If I already know it, then let me fix it and then go in and get confirmation that it's fixed. Because then I've only paid for one professional opinion, and I've only taken time off of work for one of those. And then that's like a an objective indicator to me that that it's addressed. But some things you're just not going to know unless you have a camera
If you
up
don't
your
know,
butt,
you go see
right?
the doctor.
So like,
Yeah.
but things like I know, but I don't know, I guess, what like my A1C would be right now. But I probably could have told you like back in March. If I had it done, I probably would have been at least pre-diabetic. And so I said, I don't want to be in this range. And so I cut out sugar completely for a long time, and then like really moderated it since, and like started exercising more, like, so now I would feel like if I went, I would feel pretty confident things would be good. And I do need to do that just to kind of catch things that maybe are off. But yeah, I guess sometimes there's value. And I think this is maybe what we miss sometimes as men. There is research that shows that if your doctor tells you, hey, you need to stop smoking, right? That does have a significant but small impact on your choice to quit smoking, right? That
Right.
along with a number of other things, right? So I think if we take it all into account, like a doctor telling us, or even just like maybe the thought that if I go in, the doctor would say this to me, it has some bearing on, like, not so much like, are you going to change it right away? But you do have to wrestle with that piece of information if you let it in, right? And I think maybe that's what you're saying. Like, don't disturb me with that piece of information, because I've kind of like settled my mental space in around this, and it's not bothering me, even though I know it's not leading to anything good or whatever. But if you disturb me by putting a piece of information in there, and then on top of that, I've got to take time off work. I've got, and if I have pressures to like provide for a family, or, or work's going to look down on that, maybe I don't have access to good health care, all sorts of things, right? Like there's tons of barriers, but yeah, I guess for me, it's more like I'd like to make the change and then get confirmation.
Well, and so that was right. I think that's kind of, I don't know that I ever would have thought to phrase it that way, Matt, but I think that is kind of how my thought process works. No, these are things I know I need to change. So why don't I change them and then let you tell me I'm doing good? Right? Like, why am I going to pay for you to tell me that I need to eat less? I know I need to eat less.
Yeah.
Like I can see I need to eat less. It's not like I need someone to tell me that. I don't need an expert for that.
Yeah.
I think, Rob, and again, my thinking might be flawed here. Okay, it's still my thinking.
Probably. Mine's not, though. It never is.
But my thinking, like this, the thing that you said that kind of got me going down the path I was going was, no, I want them to tell me what's going on in my body. And I thought, yes, if anyone is likely to be able to tell you, it's going to be them. But the three of us full well know a lot of what we do when we work with our clients is guesswork.
I mean, not me, but it's fine if you are. It's fine.
Like I tell clients all the time when we're talking about like strategies for managing anxiety. Look, this is not one size fits all. I'm gonna ask you to go do some stuff, and it may not work for you. If it doesn't work, great. Come back and we'll look at some other stuff and see until we find something that works for you. There's a fair amount of guesswork that we do. Yeah, there's a fair amount of guesswork that a doctor does too. Now, again, with the cigarettes, sure, it's a poor example.
Yeah,
if I've
big
smoked
time.
a lot, but that's just it. Like, to me, I think, right, but if I've smoked a lot, they're just going to lock in on that's the reason I have lung cancer.
And
what
that
are they
may
tell
be
the guy who doesn't smoke and has lung cancer.
Yeah. That may be, though, like, if we're asking why, like, what makes men resistant to going to the doctor, I think kind of tangentially tied to that, like if that's the one thing that is an indicator of a man taking his health seriously, I think most guys would say, like, I might be, although going to the doctor is important, right? Like what that activity represents is going and identifying problems with almost no solution other than like a medication or something, right? Oftentimes it's just like, hey, like you said, you need to lose weight. So it's like, cool. Thanks for just pointing out a problem I have, right? Whereas if a man is like seeking out community or like an exercise group or going and improving his eating or something like that, right? I think sometimes that same man might still get pressure like, well, you still need to go to the doctor, right? But he might be saying, I'm doing something about this, right? And there could be a legitimate like resistance and fear to going to the doctor. And I think that's, yeah, you need to overcome that and get your butt to the doctor, right? But it could also be like, I'm proactively taking steps toward improving my health. And I think we've had a ton of interaction with the healthcare system, and I have a lot of faith in it in some ways, and also a lot of skepticism of it in other ways, right? Yeah. And I think that just like placing that much trust in one source of help for this, it's funny. I mean, you go to the doctors and a lot of times they say, hey, I'm not it. You know what is it? Exercising and eating better. Right? It's like you're just the point you made about, they're going to end up here in 6 months and I'm going to put them on a medication, right? I think, in my opinion, good, responsible doctors are saying like, what I have for you is like the lifesaver in the event of a, massive problem or something like that. And there's all sorts of gray area, I'm sure. Right. But I think most doctors would say like where it's really at is, you engaging in healthy activities, healthy community, and, working on your mental health, all that stuff, right? Like that will keep you out of my office. Aside from just regular kind of routine stuff and stuff that you have no control over, right? Like if you're going to get cancer and you're doing everything right, you were going to get cancer, right? But also, I guess in a morbid vein, it's like, how do you want to die? And I think I'm not advocating gluttony and like just letting yourself go, but just compare for a second, like cancer and a heart attack, right? Like a heart attack, generally speaking, if it's going to take you out, it's going to take you out pretty quick, maybe in the middle of the night, right? And it's over, right? Cancer can be like a grueling process of decisions of like, do I keep trying to get better or not? And the quality of life and all this stuff. So I think sometimes I've heard guys say things like that, where it's like, well, if it's going to be a heart attack and I get to eat good food in the meantime and then lights out one day, like I'm okay with that, right? And I think that's a very individualistic way to look at it. You're not thinking about how that's going to affect the people around you and how you might let important people down in your life. But I think some of these thoughts, like I've heard guys say things like this,
right.
Yeah.
I think to me, I think that's all just justification. And I'm not even saying like, it's not like I'm excited. I love going to the doctor, and half the time I fully anticipate that when this is all done, they'll say, yeah, I mean, we didn't find anything. Looks like you probably just have irritable bowel. And I'll be like, cool, thanks guys. Or acid reflux. I'll be like, neat, thanks. Which means change your diet, which I'll be like, probably not.
Yeah.
But it's not even so much how do I want to die. My concern is not how I die. I mean, I don't want to have cancer, not yet. Yeah. But like, it's more like, well, what's my quality of life going to be?
Yeah.
Like, am I taking care of myself in a way that feels like I can still go do all the things I want to do? Like if I wanted to go on a hike with my kids, would I be like, hey, you guys go on ahead. I'm just going to sit here under this tree, like, or would I feel like, let's go, come on, like I don't, I do wonder sometimes, because I think I've felt this. If there's like I don't want to go to the doctor because it's a little bit embarrassing, if not shameful, to walk in and be like, your numbers don't look good, and be like, yeah, I don't take care of myself, like, or to have them say, if they're like, looks like you need to lose some weight, be like, hey, thanks, guy, like, I feel like there is a little bit of like, almost like, why don't you, it's so easy to take care of yourself. Why don't you take care of yourself? I think the same thing is true when people show up in our office. It's like, for men, it's like, I don't want to go in and have a guy tell me you're not very good communicators. Like, I know, man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to tell me. I already know that. My wife doesn't like it either.
Yeah.
So I think there's a resistance because it's like, this is painful.
Yeah.
Like I don't like being told that I suck.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard not to hear it that way.
I was talking to someone today, and he was saying how, in his experience, he feels like women are a little more prone to, he said fear and anger are the two emotions that are a little more prone to. And he said guys tend to be a little more logical. And I thought, yeah, but we're also prone to, like, to me, if I were to choose two,
That's a hilarious answer, but go ahead.
Two emotions that I think guys are prone to, it would be embarrassment and fear of failure.
Yeah.
And I think you walk into a doctor's office and you just tapped both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm embarrassed because I had to stand on a scale and have someone tell me I'm fat. And then you told me that I didn't do all of these things that I was supposed to do last time. So I just got told I failed.
Yeah. I have no willpower.
Like,
I have no,
you
no
just
discipline.
hit them both the minute I walked through the door.
Yeah.
And so I think if I know that's what I'm walking into, how excited am I going to be to go do it?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess maybe that's what makes me think on a bigger picture, not just like saying, hey, go to a doctor. Because I actually, I don't like going to doctors. I don't like that it costs me tons of money to go to a doctor. Sometimes, like the last time I went for to do this kind of initial check-in with this GI doctor, I was like, I remember thinking or finding out that it was going to cost me something like, to sit with me, he asked me like 4 or 5 questions and just typed for like 10 minutes. And I think the visit total, I don't think I paid this much, but it's like $450. And I was like, for freaking what? So I definitely have resistance just from what it costs. But I think it brings me into this bigger picture of like, man, why don't we do the things that we know are good for us? Why do we keep saying, let me do the things that aren't good for me, but have no consequence? And I don't think there's an answer to that. I do the same thing. I exercise. Well, not anymore, but this is one of the motivations. I was going to say I exercise the way I do so I can just eat whatever I want. I've since learned that's still not true, apparently, and it ruins your exercise. But also now I like
as you get older. I think it's less true as you get older.
Yeah, and I like exercise, so it is what it is now. But it feels like I do get frustrated when sometimes clients are like, why can't I change this thing, or why isn't this happening? I think, are you serious? There's 18 things over here in the rest of your life that are always going to lead back to this place. I have no answer for you. I cannot help you change this thing if you're not going to change any of that stuff. But they don't think they're related. I think, of course they're freaking related. And then I throw my Kleenex box at them. It's very effective.
What would be more effective is if instead of throwing the entire box, you just threw individual tissues.
So, and it would be a metaphor for how ineffective my therapy is being.
Yeah.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's deep.
Then you get the satisfaction of throwing something really hard without getting sued for hitting somebody with it.
Chucking it. I'm going to try it. Oh. So then I think the placebo effect of these laxatives is kicking in my head. I don't think the laxative's doing anything yet. I think placebo's like,
what you're saying.
I think placebo's like, hey, Rob, what's happening? What did we just do?
Something's just knocking on heaven's door down there, dude.
Not yet. It's just starting to build. I told my wife, like, just reading the procedure, the prep procedure you have to do, I was like, just reading this is making me have to poop. Like I think I'm getting what I call the pre-show poops, where it's like nervous poops, where it's like, am I going to have to just poop because I'm nervous? Another reason to not go see the doctor. So then I guess this was all also a long plug to say, men, let's treat ourselves a little better. Go see the doctor. Go get your colonoscopy when you're 45 or older. I was actually just looking up statistics on this. It's still lower in 45-year-olds, obviously, but I believe that, I think, Matt, you mentioned this, that the rate is increasing.
Yeah, but I also wonder, is that correlated with...
even bring the thunder? Sorry.
Is that correlated with the like uptick in colonoscopies and early detection, which again saves lives, but like, I don't know. I mean, if you really drilled down into that data, there'd probably be like some really slow moving cancers. Yeah. I'm not saying you shouldn't detect them early, but yeah, I don't think that it's like all of a sudden some like environmental or behavioral change is to blame for, you know.
No, I think it's just enough to say, hey, maybe you should start looking. It's kind of like the reason to go get a physical. It's like, I don't know, when was the last time you had a prostate checked? That's a big freaking deal for men.
Yeah.
But we're all like, nah, mine's fine. I'm like, how about you go get it checked? Like, just make sure. Like, you're going to lose a lot of what you want if that prostate goes south. But we still avoid. But not me, guys. I'm the model of a modern major general. Damn, forget it.
Good talking.
So then, spacemen, get your colon checked. Come back next time and see if Mike's still being disrespectful to Rob.
Probably.
And catch us next time on the Manspace. Mulligan!